One, two, three. Want to welcome everybody to Mom and Dad Talks, where our favorite two people are Mom and Dad, and we have Hanty. How you doing, Hanty? Okay, we're still
doing good.
Yeah, we're going to be doing great today because, folks, today we have Lisa. Folks, she's currently an executive producer for the Saturday morning wake up show with Jeanne Sparrow on B103. Okay, folks. Now, folks, she started off at WGCI as an intern in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yes, in Chicago. And she develops artists. I mean, she is into a lot. I don't want to steal her thunder because I want to talk about her story a little bit and then get to her artist, Shaun Wyte, whose song, if you get a chance to hear it, folks, it's amazing, called Kisses. I heard it, and my wife was dancing and grooving to it. So, and it's hard to get my wife to move to anything because she's also an artist too, but that really touched her heart there. So before we begin here, Lisa, what made you want to go into radio at starting out, and tell us on that journey how you happened. Start with that.
Well, I actually I was a theater major at first. And when I went to University of Iowa, but then when I ended up going to Columbia, some of the classes I was taking, it was a little too Shakespearean and dramatic, if you will. And so I was like, okay, it was a little hard to deal with some of the people. So I was like, let me try radio or TV. I knew I always wanted to do entertainment and mixed in with a little bit of humor and whatever. So I decided to take some radio classes, and my first couple radio classes, I was hooked. And I lucked out and I started interning my senior year. I worked for 2 semesters. I worked for a whole year for free, got paid. I mean, we didn't get paid. Interns didn't get paid. I got credit for 1 semester. But I started off at WGCI, which was one of the top 3 stations in the country. And I proved myself, and I was one of, we had like 50, 60 interns during that whole year, and I got hired. I didn't even have to do a resume. I was so blessed. I got to work with people like Doug Banks, who is one of my favorite people in the world. Bless his soul. Rest in peace to Doug, and Tom Joyner. We had Steve Harvey when he first started in radio before he went syndicated. So I worked with all the heavy hitters. So all my shows have been number 1.
I mean, and all her shows been number 1. You know how hard that is to do? I mean, folks, and you've helped a lot of artists and a lot of people out. And, we're going to talk just a little bit more. I mean, you got into public relations and marketing, media. I mean, how did you get into that? And what does it take to get into that?
Well, it's a lot of work. It's not necessarily always hard for every type of thing that you do, but it's time consuming. And it was kind of a joke. Actually, when I was producing for Jeanne Sparrow at WGCI, and Jeanne used to joke on the air saying, I don't know what Lisa does, but all these artists and big celebrities she gets all of their personal numbers. She's like, she's a concierge to the stars. Don't look at it. Don't question it. It's a gift. Don't question it. And so I started my entertainment company, Lisa E Entertainment, concierge to the stars. And it's just funny now that I'm working with Jeanne again. I work directly for Jeanne, even though all my old coworkers are V103. I work directly for Jeanne, not for V, but they're all my family, my radio family. But so I started doing a lot of charity events with the NBA players and the NFL players, and just started, I do some public relations, media relations. I MC parties. I do voiceovers. I do open meet and greets and listening parties. So I do different things depending on what they need. Like a concierge does kind of so many different things. And I literally fell into working. I always tell the story. I know he's sick of hearing it, but I never wanted to manage anybody as far as, music or whatever. I'll do projects, but it literally fell into it because I saw the people representing Shaun Wyte, and I had to have a talk with him like, you are way too talented. And I wasn't trying to put people down, but the way they were handling all the people they weren't, I don't want to say legitimate. I don't want to use words and put not saying anything, but we literally fell into working together. So I have people a little upset with me now because people have been asking me to be their manager. And I never wanted to manage anybody, never do again. I love doing, it's like a full-time job in itself. And, but we're having fun. It's a fun ride. We're riding that wave to the next levels, and Shaun's doing really well. And, he's opened up for so many artists, and he's taken it to the next levels already. So he's right there. So, happy manager.
I like I said, and we're gonna bring Shaun on here. Shaun, I mean, like I said, when I heard that song Kisses, I was like, wow. And what I like about it, it's clean. You know what I'm saying? It reminds me of the old school, but it's got a new flair to it.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, I mean, dude, I was highly impressed. I mean, dude, you know, I mean, you work with a lot of people, man. Can you talk about some of the people? Can you talk about, first of all, how did you get into music? Can we start there, Sean?
Well, yeah, definitely. My auntie sang, she was background singer for the Satellites, Luther. My dad had a band that he blues band that he did in Mississippi. So music is really rich in my blood. It's just there. You know what I mean? It's just always been there with me. So I say I could say since the age of 7, I've been singing, So
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, and you got a wonderful voice. And like I said,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And some of the artists that you sang with and collaborated with, can you talk a little bit about that? And how did that, just talk a little bit how that happened?
Well, she's a bad woman when it comes to that business. I mean, I got a chance to perform with Joe Thomas, which is like a person I listen to all the time, even to this day. So me opening up for this guy and me actually talking with him and taking pictures with him, that was like one thing on my bucket list that I got to scratch out. Avant and Carl Thomas and the rest of the guys. Kiki Riot, I performed with her twice. All of them are down to earth people. You know what I mean? They give you some game, you ask them some questions, they talk to you. So, I mean, hey, right now I'm living the dream, man. I mean, I'm blessed, you know what I mean, for real. So
I mean, and so, one of the things I want to ask here is, you when you started to sing, right? What do you think it takes to make it to where you're at today and grow from your experience? I mean, because most people dream just to sing with the top name artist. But dude, you're starting, you're hitting that upswing. And we're gonna be hearing a whole lot about this man soon, especially when you hear the song Kisses. But can you tell us, what does it take to be an artist singing with it? What do you have to make it at this level?
First of all, you gotta have belief in yourself, and you gotta have the main thing, you gotta believe in yourself. Because, me starting off writing, I wasn't writing, my songs wasn't that good starting out. So, you know what I'm saying? It took years and years for me crafting it to get it better and better. And I've been in the industry for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Also, I believe in the universe lining up, you know what I'm saying? Once I got with Lisa, the skills that I had went to another level, because she had you also got to have right connections in this industry too. Believe it or not, you got to have someone that can, put your talent in front of different people that can make things happen. So, I think it's just persistence, have belief in yourself, and continue grinding at what you believe in.
I mean, and like I said, I think that's beautiful. And you're good. My aunt, before I have her ask her question here, I mean, when she saw it, she's like, "Woo!"
I thought you were talking about me, but okay, we'll let Sean get the credit.
You know what? That's a good thing, because you in this game, you got anything that you have that you can sell is good. So if the females like the way I look, that's even better for them to get a chance to listen to my music well. So that's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask another question here between you and Lisa, because like I said, I mean, Lisa, I can see why you picked them, because sometimes artists can be divas. And Sean, you look like a level-headed guy. I mean, you got your, I mean,
yeah, he is.
And I can see why you gravitated to him. I mean, just me talking to him has it. So Lisa, I mean, I know you don't take on any new clients or anything like that, but what would you give in advice to people out there that want to make it in this industry? Because you've been in this industry from a long time, from radio to, I mean, you've been through it all, it looks like.
And I'm only 28, so go figure. But what I was saying is, and I'll take on, it's not necessarily taking on clients like to manage them, because managing is a full-time job. But I'll definitely help clients like that want to do listening parties, meet and greets. I'll do PR. I've done press releases for somebody that's got, a book out, like an artist that might be doing something. I've done different things. So I'll still work with people and take on clients, if you will. But, my advice to everybody, especially these new, it's not even an age thing, but people coming out now, people aren't trying to put in the work. Everybody now just wants the shortcut. And sometimes you still have to crawl before you can walk. And I keep telling people that when people are like, we get these things now, and you get these so-called promoters or people in the industry saying, okay, for this amount of money, I can get you played on these radio stations and get these commercials. It doesn't work like that. Half of that's not true. Your talent, people keep asking me now, Sean's getting played because of his talent. in radio. So Sean's getting played, Sean's getting gigs because of his talent. So, and I don't want people thinking they need to take the shortcut. Put in the time. Believe me, when you work, it's a feeling when you're on the stage. When Sean did a show, he said Joe's one of his favorite artists. Sean got to open up for Joe Avant and for it was Joe Avant and Drew Hill. It was a sold out show at the Horseshoe Casino in Indiana. And I mean, just to see the crowd like loving that, and you have thousands of people, that's just, that's your reward, seeing that you're making a difference in people's lives and being that person. And it's a good thing, Sean and I work well together, because a lot of times, I MC. So a lot of times Sean gets booked, and then I'll ask him, who's your MC? Oh, we don't have one. So boom, I do it. And then I write the commercials. Or I'm emceeing, I'm like, hey, do you guys have an act? And so like we did, I reach out to people. I tell people, have conversations. If you're trying to do something, sometimes a conversation on the phone, a 5-minute conversation can be all that you need. I reached out to somebody that was, we get like those sponsored things on Facebook, and, it's like, it was for an event, a big event for Anthony Adams' house. And the lady that was running it, I called, and it was the daughter of the man that it was named after her father. And they help, runaway teens or teens that are going through abuse and need help. And so we had a 5-minute conversation. I ended up emceeing the gala. Sean performed. If anybody knows who Julius Irving, Dr. J is, he was the keynote speaker. And you were talking about 500-600 people of all different, very, very diverse, older, younger, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, other. Like it was such a great melting
Lisa,
pot.
Hold on for a second, Lisa. You see that? I made a mistake and put that no up there. Do you see that on the screen?
Yes, sir.
No there. Could you take that out? I've been trying to take it out for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Let me, well, we work on that, but keep on going there.
Okay. So right. And so Sean's like the quiet one, because Sean's very laid back and quiet, and then he doesn't sometimes always, so I'm like, okay, no, you've done this and this. Like he's opened up, he doesn't tell everything, but the celebrities have really
welcomed. Mommy and Daddy talks.
Oh, sorry about that.
I am coming in.
I'm really sorry about that.
That's okay.
Keep on going.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, this is real. So real life. But anyway, but I tell people, do it, make as many connections as you can, but do it in a positive way. And for the women out there doing things, it's not, even though people say it is a competition, everybody needs to lift each other. There's enough fame and fortune for all of us to go around. And if your talents are going to be worth it, you're going to find your way in this. Sean, without me even using any favors, like Sean writes 100% of his music.
Wow.
And there was a producer that came out to us. A friend of mine had a producer and said, you know what? I think Sean would be great for this song that Montel Jordan wrote. Montel Jordan.
Yes.
This is how I do it. Who's a personal friend of mine. Sean had met him in Chicago a few months before. I didn't want to use a favor. And because I want, when somebody's listening to music, I want them to be real and really like it. So they gave it to Sean. Montel listened to it. Sean had made a couple little changes. Montel loved it and didn't edit one bit. He loved it. So I called Montel on the phone. I said, Montel, the song that you did? That was my artist when you met in Chicago a few months ago. He's like, get out of here. And then we actually went out to Alabama to an after party that Montel was a special guest at, and Montel brought him on stage and Sean performed it at the after party. So Sean's already been welcomed in that whole group of the musicians and the athletes and the artists. Ray Lewis, if you guys know who Ray Lewis is, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. I helped him do an entire charity weekend and a bunch of parties and giving back to the community. Sean performed at the private parties. He also did the national anthem at the golf outing. Ray was in the corner dancing. So he's, already been accepted because of who he is. He just kind of fits in with everybody. He doesn't have to act a certain way. Mm-hmm. He's just himself and he fits in. And so, and getting back to your point, I'm sorry, I talk.
No, Lisa, you're dropping out dimes, nickels, and quarters here. People need to listen to this.
Right. And what I'm saying is people too, just network, be yourself. Mm-hmm. Everybody's unique. You don't have to, because Sean's like, well, is this going on now with the trends? I said, be your own trendsetter. If you like doing something, who's to say what is right and who's wrong? Who wrote the book? Somebody starts trends, but if you're not into that particular trend, do you be yourself?
Right.
Sean, everybody's got their thing that people go after. I mean, the women like Sean, use that as a bonus, I guess I'm looking at him now. You're a pretty good looking guy. I haven't really looked at you, but he's got nice teeth too. He's got nice teeth, but he's also, he's very laid back and he's nice. And I always tell people just, ride the wave, enjoy this. Life is short, and use your talents for good.
Right.
We have a song coming up I'm going to be sending you, Todd.
Yes.
It's called For the Holidays. And so we were a little late last year after he did the song. But this year we're going to send it. We're going to be doing some fundraisers and community things. This is about children. It's very it's all inclusive. I was trying to say non-denominational. So it's very inclusive, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Thanksgiving, whatever. This is bringing families together, bringing peace. And it's also that children should get types of gifts for whatever holidays. And it's a really powerful, beautiful song. So I'm going to send that to you. We're going to be doing some things for the holidays for the kids coming up and for families. So we want to, that's going to be a huge point for the holidays coming up. So
I think that's wonderful. I know we're coming to the minute. Hanty, I know you've been wanting to ask a question. Real quick, I know you're probably moving because they probably ask you to move over here, folks. This is like live and real here. What question do you have for Sean or Lisa here?
Sean gave us a biography right now, and I mean Lisa did, and I appreciate that because she answered a whole lot of questions that I may have had, but I wanted to ask Sean, musicians yesteryear and today started in the church. Did you?
I mean, of course. I mean, I had a church upbringing. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe I think that's a beautiful introduction to letting people know what what you're all about, and to like your music. I mean, I can do this, I can do that. And when you have with most people that I am around are church people, and there's nothing wrong with, I can tell it already, kisses.
Yeah, kisses is very radio friendly. I mean, there's no profanity, but I won't say that my whole album is not, because my album is a little spicy. You can have a little, some people may not want to listen to some of those songs, but Kisses and a few others are very radio friendly. So
very
most of his songs, and he doesn't really use a lot of the cursing. That's another piece of advice I tell artists, especially artists that do hip hop. I keep telling everybody, people know the curse words. They know when people use the N word. They use, with different artists. I'm like, don't use that as a crutch. You know what I mean? Don't you? White people never should. I don't care what people tell you. Any white artist, don't ever use that N word. That's just something I'm against completely. But especially the curse words too. It's a crutch. We all know the curse words, I mean, for Eazy-E and, NWA, certain artists, of course, Snoop Dogg, we like to hear stuff like that. But for other artists, but Sean is strictly straight R&B, and he's taking it back to old school. He's bringing like real music for everyone, ages out of the womb and above.
I wouldn't say old school. I would just say a continuation of the good music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Of that good
bring it back.
music.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Bringing the new vibe, but just real music. Correct.
Yeah.
And I get that. And like I said, I know we're coming to the minute here, Sean and Lisa. But first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for educating our listening audience. Because you drop so much knowledge on people who are trying to make it, that I hope they listen to this and rewind and watch it back. Because if you're trying to get into the industry, you guys laid it out to them what it takes to do this and how to really make it.
Don't think it's going to be. Yeah, don't think it's going to be easy and it's going to be handed to you, because it's not. I mean, it's going to be a lot of tests, a lot of trials, a lot of everything. I mean, but if you're true about, if this is what you really want to do, you're going to endure all of that. You're going to overcome those obstacles, and you're going to keep going. basically.
Well,
I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Go
ahead, Lisa.
I was going to tell Sean, the advice that you give to people too. Sean has advice for people about who they need to go to when they're starting off before doing contracts and things. Let people know your advice to them.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I was in a contract where I had to go to court and get out of it, and I left out with them owing me $80,000. So the main thing, one of the most important things besides honing in your craft, is make sure your paperwork is correct. Make sure you got the right people on your team, the right lawyers that know how to read contracts, when it comes to that. If you're trying to get into the whole record label thing. So if you
that's good counsel. Good counsel.
Definitely.
And folks,
not that I'm going into business. Don't. No.
Any business that you're going to, not even just music, but anything. Make sure you know that paperwork.
I mean, right.
That's the main thing.
And you know what, folks, we're going to end on that note. Make sure your paperwork's right. Make sure you are determined. And when you commit all the way.
Right.
So, folks, we want to leave that with you today. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Sean. And Hanty, always thank you for being on Mom and Dad Talks.
In my car.